Chosen one, on July 22nd, do not watch this message while you are scrolling through your phone, responding to other people, or sitting beside someone whose reaction could influence what you are willing to admit. Find a private place. Close the door if you can. Put your phone on silent. Give yourself enough time to listen without performing, explaining, or checking whether another person agrees with what you feel. The reason you should watch alone is not that something dangerous is waiting outside your home. It is because the truth surfacing on July 22nd is personal. It is connected to information only you possess, what has been happening behind closed doors, what someone repeatedly promised, what their behavior actually produced, what you feel before you begin defending the situation, and what decision keeps returning when nobody else is speaking. Other people can offer advice, but they cannot fully see the agreement you have made with your own fear. They do not know how much energy you use pretending that something is still unclear. They do not hear the conversations you rehearse at night. They do not feel what happens in your body when a particular name appears. They do not understand the private ambition you keep reducing because you are afraid of how people would react if you pursued it seriously. This is what God has been hiding from everyone except you. It is not secret information proving that you are more important than other people. It is a truth that could never belong to anyone else in the same way because it concerns the part of your life only you are responsible for choosing. July 22nd brings a private examination before a more visible movement begins. The moon is in Scorpio, the sun has entered Leo, and Mercury is still moving retrograde through Cancer. Astrologically, this creates tension between what is privately understood and what is ready to be publicly expressed. The Scorpio moon wants to examine motives, attachments, emotional debts, control, trust, and the information people usually avoid discussing. Leo wants visibility, courage, creativity, and a more honest expression of identity. Mercury retrograde in Cancer brings older conversations, memories, emotional assumptions, and unfinished decisions back into consideration. The important question is not whether every memory or emotion is a divine command. The question is why one particular truth keeps surviving every attempt to distract yourself from it. You may have tried to replace it with optimism. You may have asked several people for their opinions. You may have given the person another chance, revised the plan again, or convinced yourself that you needed more time. Yet whenever the room becomes quiet, the same issue returns. That repetition is not occurring because you are incapable of moving forward. It may be happening because moving forward requires a decision you have not been willing to make. The first truth hidden in this day is that you may not be as confused as you say you are. You may be afraid of the consequence of admitting what you already know. Confusion asks for information. Fear often continues asking questions after the information has arrived. You know that a person's words have not matched their actions, but accepting this would require you to change the access they receive. You know that a professional arrangement is unfair, but acknowledging it would require negotiation, preparation, or the risk of losing the opportunity. You know that your current routine cannot support the future you keep imagining, but changing it would require giving up habits that provide immediate comfort. You know that a goal still matters to you, but pursuing it seriously would make you visible enough to be evaluated. Instead of naming the fear, you call the situation complicated. July 22nd may show you the difference between a genuinely complicated decision and a simple truth with difficult consequences. A genuinely complicated decision contains important missing facts, legitimate risks on both sides, and several possible outcomes requiring careful evaluation. A difficult truth may already be supported by repeated behavior. What makes it feel complicated is the emotional cost of responding to it. Ask yourself which information you are still waiting to receive. Can you name it specifically? Do you need to know the price, deadline, condition, intention, legal term, or realistic preparation required? If the missing information has a name, obtain it. If you cannot identify what else you need to learn, you may already possess enough information to choose the next responsible step. This does not mean making an irreversible decision immediately. It means stopping the endless search for an answer that will remove every feeling of risk. No answer can promise that you will never regret a choice. No person can guarantee that a relationship will never change. No opportunity can eliminate every possibility of failure. Clarity does not remove uncertainty from life. It tells you which uncertainty is worth accepting. The second truth hidden on July 22nd concerns the people who benefit from your indecision. This does not mean everyone around you is secretly plotting against you. Most people are focused on their own needs, fears, and priorities, but a situation can still benefit someone even when they did not consciously design it that way. An undefined relationship may benefit the person receiving closeness without responsibility. An unclear work agreement may benefit the person receiving extra labor without additional payment. A family pattern may benefit the people who know you will eventually solve the problem. A friendship may benefit someone who can bring every crisis to you without making room for your experience. Your indecision creates continuity. As long as you do not decide, the existing arrangement continues. The person does not need to clarify their intention because you remain present without clarity. The employer does not need to revise the terms because you continue delivering under the old ones. The family member does not need to develop another solution because your help arrives whenever the pressure becomes strong enough. July 22nd may reveal this through a small event. You delay your usual response and notice how quickly someone becomes impatient. You ask one direct question and the conversation changes. You say that you need time to consider a request and the other person begins creating urgency. You state that additional work requires a revised agreement and discover that the praise surrounding your contribution disappears when compensation is mentioned. Do not become immediately accusatory. Observe. The reaction may reveal an assumption the other person never expressed openly. They assumed your time was available. They assumed the relationship could remain undefined. They assumed you would accept the first offer. They assumed your compassion would eventually override your limit. A hidden agreement becomes visible when one person stops automatically fulfilling their usual role. Your responsibility is not to punish anyone for benefiting from the old structure. Your responsibility is to decide whether you will continue supporting it. The third truth concerns your private ambition. You may have been telling yourself that you are satisfied with less because wanting more feels dangerous. Wanting more can attract judgment. It can create responsibility. It can place distance between you and people who understand the version of you that remains predictable. You may want a larger audience, a stronger business, a different career, greater income, a healthier relationship, or more authority over your time. Yet whenever the desire becomes clear, you reduce it. You say that the idea is unrealistic before researching it. You joke about the goal so nobody can accuse you of taking yourself too seriously. You share the plan with a person who always responds through fear, then use their reaction as evidence that you should remain where you are. The sun's movement into Leo draws attention toward expression and visibility, while the Scorpio moon asks what has been kept private and why. This combination may show you that some of your secrecy has protected valuable development, while some has protected fear. The distinction matters. A private plan can be healthy when it is still being researched, structured, or tested. Early exposure may invite pressure before the idea has enough evidence to survive opinions. Secrecy becomes avoidance when you never allow the plan to enter reality. You keep learning but never apply. You keep editing but never publish. You keep imagining the conversation but never request the meeting. You keep saying the timing is not right because you are waiting for a version of yourself who feels no fear. July 22nd may bring a private realization about the smallest action capable of turning ambition into evidence. The action does not need to be dramatic. Create the first complete version. Contact the person with relevant experience. Calculate the actual cost. Open the application. Define the offer. Schedule the work period. The plan can remain private while the preparation becomes real. God may have hidden the vision from people who would interfere with its early development, but protection is not permission for permanent inactivity. A protected seed must eventually break the surface. The fourth truth involves the difference between privacy and emotional isolation. Watching alone on July 22nd can create clarity because you temporarily remove social influence. But solitude should not become a method for avoiding appropriate help. Some decisions require professional knowledge. A financial agreement may require an accountant or advisor. A legal issue may require qualified legal guidance. A health concern may require a medical professional. A serious emotional crisis may require support from someone trained to help. Private reflection identifies the question. Expertise can help you answer the parts that require information beyond your current knowledge. The problem is not asking for help. The problem is asking everyone for help until your own position disappears beneath conflicting opinions. Choose support carefully. Ask yourself why you are telling a particular person. Do they possess relevant experience? Can they listen without taking control? Do they distinguish their fear from your reality? Will they protect confidential information? Do they help you examine facts, or do they turn every conversation into a dramatic prediction? Watching alone allows you to form your own initial understanding before other people begin interpreting the situation for you. Once you know the actual question, you can seek the correct kind of support. The fifth truth concerns a relationship that has occupied more emotional space than its practical structure justifies. You may have spent months analyzing a connection that exists mainly through messages, memories, brief returns, or potential. The feelings may be real. The connection may contain genuine affection, but emotional significance does not automatically create a functional relationship. A functional relationship requires availability, communication, mutual effort, responsibility, and enough shared reality for both people to build something together. On July 22nd, the Scorpio Moon may intensify your awareness of attachment. You may remember a person, dream about them, feel tempted to examine old messages, or sense the emotional weight of what remained unresolved. Do not assume intensity means you must contact them. First, ask what the intensity contains. Is it love, grief, unanswered questions, rejection, a need to prove that you mattered, fear that releasing the connection means admitting the future you imagined will not occur? Different emotions require different responses. Love may support an honest conversation when both people are willing to participate. Grief may need to be felt without reopening contact. An unanswered question may require one direct request for clarity. A wound to pride may need acceptance rather than another attempt to obtain validation. If the person reaches out, do not decide the meaning of the contact before they explain their intention. A message proves contact occurred. It does not automatically prove transformation. Ask what they want to discuss. Notice whether they acknowledge the existing pattern. Observe whether the conversation contains responsibility or only emotion. Someone can miss you without being ready to treat the relationship differently. Someone can regret losing access without understanding what created the loss. Someone can speak sincerely in the moment and remain unable to sustain the behavior required afterward. Do not demand perfection, but look for capacity. Can the person communicate directly? Can they tolerate your questions? Can they hear how the situation affected you without immediately making themselves the victim? Can they name a practical change? The truth hidden from everyone else may be found in the difference between what the connection appears to be and what happens when nobody is romanticizing it for you. Your friends may see chemistry, your family may see risk, people online may label the connection according to their own experiences. You are the person who knows what occurs after the intense conversation ends. You know whether peace remains. You know whether consistency follows. You know whether you become more yourself or begin organizing your life around another period of uncertainty. Watch alone because this answer can be lost when the opinions of spectators become more important than the lived reality of the connection. The sixth truth concerns money and power. July 22nd may bring attention to something you have avoided measuring: an expense, a debt, an unpaid amount, a business idea, a salary question, a promise involving future money. Financial vagueness creates emotional vulnerability because you cannot evaluate risk accurately when the numbers remain hidden. You may describe the situation as hopeful while avoiding the calculation that would reveal whether it is sustainable. You may describe yourself as trapped while avoiding the information needed to build an exit. You may accept someone's control because they provide financial support, then feel guilty for wanting independence. The hidden truth may be that your next level requires a more adult relationship with numbers. Open the account, write down what is coming in and what is going out. Identify fixed obligations, separate necessary expenses from emotional spending. Calculate what a transition would require. If you are considering an investment or business opportunity, distinguish projected revenue from current evidence. Ask who controls the money. Ask who owns the result. Ask what happens if the partnership ends. Ask whether the promise exists in writing. Do not allow embarrassment to keep the structure hidden from you. A number is information. It is not a judgment of your worth. You may discover that the situation is more difficult than you admitted. That clarity allows preparation. You may also discover that fear has exaggerated the problem. The gap may be smaller and more manageable once it is defined. God may reveal financial truth privately because public appearance has been interfering with practical honesty. You want people to believe you are doing well, so you maintain expenses that increase pressure. You want to appear generous, so you agree to support others beyond your capacity. You want an opportunity to look successful, so you ignore weak terms. July 22nd asks whether you are building security or performing it. Real security may look less impressive at first, saving rather than displaying, testing rather than launching dramatically, negotiating rather than accepting praise as payment, maintaining current income while preparing another route. The private financial decision may become the foundation of a visible change months later. The seventh truth concerns a family or social role that no longer fits. You may be the person everyone expects to remain calm, the one who organizes, the one who forgives, the one who never needs help, the one who absorbs uncomfortable information and protects everyone else from its consequences. Roles create predictability inside groups. When you change, the group may react even if the change is healthy. A family member may interpret your limit as rejection. A friend may say you have become distant because you are no longer available for every crisis. A colleague may describe you as less cooperative because you stopped performing responsibilities that were never formally yours. July 22nd may reveal how much of your identity depends on other people recognizing the role. You may not know who you are without being needed. Rest can feel empty because productivity gave you proof of value. Receiving help can feel uncomfortable because competence protected you from vulnerability. Saying no can create guilt because agreement maintained your place in the group. The hidden truth is that a role can be appreciated and still become too expensive. You can remain loving without remaining permanently available. You can contribute without taking full control. You can be reliable without making your body responsible for everyone's lack of preparation. The change should be communicated rather than performed through sudden hostility. State what you can do. State what you cannot do. Do not give a long defense unless the details are genuinely necessary. I can help for 1 hour, but I cannot manage the entire situation. I am not available today. I can speak tomorrow. I understand that this affects you, but I need to make the decision based on what I can realistically sustain. Then allow other people to have a reaction. Their initial disappointment does not automatically mean the boundary is wrong. Review whether the limit is fair, whether you communicated respectfully, and whether you are still fulfilling your legitimate responsibilities. If those conditions are met, discomfort can be part of adjustment. The eighth truth concerns the information you have been consuming. A mind filled with predictions, opinions, arguments, gossip, and other people's emotional stories becomes less capable of identifying its own priorities. You may believe you are gathering guidance while actually delaying action. Every new message creates another interpretation. Every video adds another warning. Every friend offers a different possibility. The quantity of information increases while decision quality decreases. July 22nd should include an information boundary. For at least 1 hour, do not consume content about the problem. Do not search what the person's behavior really means. Do not watch another prediction. Do not ask another friend. Use the information already available to create a written summary. What happened? What was promised? What occurred afterward? What remains unknown? What can you personally do next? This exercise may show you that the issue does not require more interpretation. It requires a conversation, calculation, boundary, application, appointment, or period of observation. Information becomes useful when it changes the quality of action. If it only increases emotional intensity, it may be functioning as stimulation rather than guidance. This is another reason to watch alone. You need to experience your own conclusion before the algorithm, group chat, or loudest person in the room gives you another one. The ninth truth is that something valuable may need to remain private for a little longer. People often hear "do not tell anyone" and turn it into superstition. They believe another person's awareness can magically destroy an aligned opportunity. The realistic danger is different. Early disclosure can create social pressure. You mention a new project, receive praise, and gain the emotional reward of progress before doing the difficult work. You tell someone about a boundary, and their fear causes you to soften it before the relevant conversation occurs. You reveal a financial plan to a person who responds competitively, and you become distracted by proving it will succeed. You share a developing relationship with people who immediately assign a permanent meaning to it, making it harder to observe the connection calmly. Privacy allows evidence to form before identity becomes attached to an outcome. Decide what genuinely needs to remain private: a developing application, an early-stage business idea, a personal financial number, the first phase of reconciliation, a boundary you need to establish directly with the relevant person before discussing it socially. Privacy should have a purpose and a review point. You are not hiding forever. You are giving the situation enough protected time to become real. Ask when you will review whether disclosure is useful: after the application is submitted, after the first experiment is completed, after the relationship has demonstrated consistency for several weeks, after the professional advisor has reviewed the agreement. This prevents privacy from becoming another hiding place for fear. The 10th truth is that you may already have made the decision internally. Your external life has not caught up because you have not translated the decision into behavior. You say the relationship cannot continue in its current form, yet you continue responding in the same way. You say the job is temporary, but no preparation for another path appears on your calendar. You say the financial pattern must change, but no limit or tracking system has been created. You say you will become visible, but the completed work remains private. A private decision becomes real through a changed structure. Access changes, time changes, money changes, communication changes, the calendar changes. Without one of these changes, the old arrangement continues receiving your practical agreement even while your thoughts oppose it. July 22nd is a day to choose the first visible behavior that matches the private truth. Do not attempt to transform everything in one afternoon. Choose the action that removes the largest contradiction. If you need clarity, ask the question. If you need distance, change the access. If you need preparation, schedule the first work period. If you need financial truth, calculate the numbers. If you need qualified help, arrange the appointment. The action should create information or structure. A dramatic announcement may create emotion without creating either. Now let us examine what you should avoid on July 22nd. Avoid sending a long emotional message during the first wave of intensity. Write what you feel, but wait before sending it. Read the message later and identify what you are actually asking the other person to do. If the request cannot be found, rewrite it. A message filled with pain may be honest, yet still leave the recipient unclear about the decision or response required. Avoid revealing your full plan to people who have no role in building it. Attention is not support. Curiosity is not expertise. Praise is not commitment. Choose disclosure according to relevance. Avoid entering gossip. Someone may bring information about another person hoping you will react. Ask whether the information is verified and whether knowing it helps you make a necessary decision. Do not allow another person's interpretation to become evidence without checking the facts. Avoid making an irreversible decision only because the day feels spiritually important. Astrology can provide a framework for reflection. It cannot remove practical consequences. Read contracts, check the numbers, consider safety, seek qualified guidance where appropriate. Allow a night of sleep when the decision permits it. Avoid searching for endless signs after receiving a clear answer. If someone directly tells you they are unavailable, do not use coincidences to rewrite their statement. If an agreement clearly contains weak terms, do not treat excitement as evidence that the terms will become fair later. If the person consistently participates, communicates, and respects boundaries, do not allow fear to turn every quiet moment into proof of betrayal. Reality must remain the primary source of information. Avoid using solitude to deepen paranoia. Scorpio symbolism can bring attention to hidden motives, but not every silence contains a secret, and not every uncomfortable feeling proves someone is deceptive. Begin with the simplest explanation supported by evidence. Ask direct questions. Distinguish what you know from what you suspect. Private reflection should create clearer engagement with reality. If it leaves you more certain about claims you cannot verify, pause and seek grounded perspective. Here is how to watch alone on July 22nd in a way that produces something useful. Choose a period of 60 to 90 minutes. Prepare a quiet space with paper, water, and only the information directly relevant to your decision. This might include messages, an agreement, financial numbers, a calendar, or notes from previous conversations. Place your phone away from your body unless you need it to access those records. Turn off notifications. Begin by writing 4 headings. What I know, what I keep explaining away. What must remain private for now, what I will do next. Under what I know, record facts, dates, amounts, direct statements, repeated behavior, completed actions, do not include guesses. Under what I keep explaining away, write the evidence that makes you uncomfortable. The deadline that was repeatedly moved. The apology that was not followed by change. The income that does not cover the cost. The fatigue appearing every time you enter the same environment. The project interest you continue dismissing because visibility frightens you. Do not turn this section into an attack on yourself or another person. Its purpose is to remove distortion. Under what must remain private for now, list the information that needs protection while evidence develops. Write why it must remain private and when you will review that decision. My application will remain private until it is submitted because early discussion causes me to seek approval instead of completing it. My financial plan will be shared only with the qualified person helping me evaluate it. My relationship conversation will remain between us until both people understand what is being considered. Under what I will do next, write 1 action that can be completed within 48 hours. Beside it, write the result the action is designed to create. I will ask the direct relationship question to obtain clarity about present availability. I will calculate the complete cost to determine whether the opportunity is viable. I will send the first version to create real feedback. I will set a 2-week boundary to observe whether effort becomes mutual. Then read the 4 sections slowly. Notice where your mind begins producing excuses. Do not fight the excuses, write them on another page. Ask what each excuse is trying to protect. Comfort, image. Access to a person, avoidance of criticism, avoidance of grief, financial security. Some protections are legitimate. They may change the timing or size of your action. Others preserve the old pattern at the cost of your future. Once you identify the difference, revise the action until it becomes responsible but still meaningful. This is the ritual for July 22nd. You may light a candle if it helps you concentrate safely, but the candle is not what reveals the truth. The power lies in directing your full attention toward the facts, fears, and next action without allowing social influence to interrupt the process. At the end, place the final action in an envelope or fold the page. Write the completion deadline on the outside. I will protect what is still developing, confront what is already clear, and act on the part that belongs to me. Then complete the action before the deadline. Do not ask for another sign until you have acted on the information already received. The days after July 22nd will show whether your private realization can survive ordinary life. A person may react. The plan may require revision. The first result may be smaller than expected. The boundary may create temporary silence. This is not evidence that the reflection was useless. You are moving from an internal conclusion into an external system. Systems need adjustment. Observe what changes. Does the direct question create a clearer conversation? Does the financial review reduce uncertainty? Does privacy help you finish the work? Does changing access reveal the natural level of effort in the relationship? Does the new routine protect enough energy to continue? Use the response to improve the decision. Do not force reality to confirm the exact future you imagined. A hidden truth is valuable because it allows you to deal with what exists, not because it promises that every desire will be fulfilled. Chosen one, God may have hidden this from everyone except you because nobody else can make the choice without also taking away your responsibility. Another person can advise you, they can warn you, they can encourage you, they can provide expertise. They cannot become the person who lives with the agreement after the conversation ends. They cannot feel what it costs you to continue performing the old role. They cannot complete the work during the hours when motivation is absent. They cannot enforce the boundary when someone tests it. The private truth comes with private responsibility. That is why July 22nd should not become another day of consuming spiritual messages without changing anything practical. Watch alone, think alone long enough to hear yourself. Then return to reality with a clearer question, a stronger boundary, a protected plan, or one completed action. You may discover that the thing God was hiding was not a dramatic secret about another person. It was your own readiness. You are ready to stop asking vague questions, ready to examine the number, ready to admit what the pattern has shown, ready to protect the plan instead of announcing it, ready to separate love from unlimited access, ready to become visible without waiting for universal approval. The answer was hidden because you kept searching outside the place where it could be found. July 22nd brings you back to that place, the quiet room, the written facts, the reaction in your body, the decision that returns after every distraction. Do not leave the room with 10 new promises. Leave with one action strong enough to change the structure. Do not tell everyone what you discovered. Tell the relevant person what must change. Tell the qualified professional what you need help evaluating. Tell yourself the truth without adding an excuse after it. Write, "I will protect the private truth," in the comments if you are ready to stop allowing outside noise to make your most important decisions. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next stage will reveal what happens when the Scorpio Moon turns private clarity into an irreversible change in direction. On July 22nd, God may not show you something nobody in history has ever known. He may show you the one thing nobody else could know for you, what you have already outgrown. What you are finally prepared to ask, what must remain protected, and what you will do now that pretending not to know has become more painful than choosing.